When looking at this problem, the first thing we see is we need to write our answer in interval notation. Remember, interval notation is a way we write our answers with either brackets and or parentheses. Also remember, if our variable x, or in this case n, is less than the number, we will then get a negative infinity. Also, if n is greater than the number, we will get positive infinity. And remember, when we have infinities, we have to write them with parentheses. The next thing we are going to do is solve this problem. To solve this inequality, the first thing we want to do is isolate our variables. In order to do this, our first step will be to distribute the negative 4 into n plus 4. So when we do this, negative 4 times n will give us a negative 4n. Negative 4 times a positive 4 gives us a negative 16. Less than or equal to negative 6n plus 16. The next thing we are going to want to do is get all our variables over to one side and all our non-variables over to the other side. I'm going to write negative 6n over to the other side. If we're subtracting by 6n on one side, to get rid of it, we need to add 6n to both sides. When we do this, we get 2n minus 16 is less than or equal to a 16. Now, the next step is going to be adding 16 to both sides. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So, we get 2n is less than or equal to 32. So, we now know to get rid of n, to get n alone, we need to get rid of our 2. To get rid of 2, if it's multiplied by n, we then have to divide it. The 2's divide to 1, and we are left with n is less than or equal to 32 divided by 2, also known as n is less than or equal to 16. Our last step is to write our inequality in interval notation. To do this, we first take our 16. N is less than or equal to 16. Since we have that equals to sign, we know that 16 has a bracket. Since n is less than or equal to 16, we also know that n will be going off into negative infinity. Negative infinity must always have a parentheses. This should be our final answer. It will also match letter A.